Hello everyone, my name is Rahul Kumar Sharma. Today I am with you with a very brand new video called Python function. In any programming language, code reusability is very important. It plays a crucial role in any application. Python function play a role to give the advantage of the code reusability. In the previous video, I explained Python control flow, if else statement, loops, break, continue, and pass statement, ternary operator. Very well, I explained the difference in if else statement and the ternary operator. In today's video, I am going to cover most of the things related to the function, like how to call the function, function arguments, return statement, lambda function, scope and life of the variable, recursion function. Okay, let me share my screen now. So guys, as I mentioned, Python function is today's topic. And for the Python function, I have created Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook link will be available in the description. So I always advise download the Jupyter Notebook from the GitHub. Link is provided. Open Jupyter Notebook in your laptop and with me do practice. Practice is the only mantra to learn anything. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, so if you can see my screen, so what is the Python function? Python function are the are defined using the def keyword followed by function name and parenthesis. This is about the syntax. But syntax I will explain when I will come to this coding part. But let me explain you. You are writing any application. In that application, few things are there which you need to use on multiple places. So in this case, let's suppose you have a calculation. In that calculation, you want to sum some values. So to make the sum, you need to write a function. In that function, you can pass two arguments. Those arguments will sum and return the value. This is very simple example. But sometimes what happens, we have lots of values in the database. And based on those values, we need a final output, and those values are available in the database, those values will be calculated based on some logic. So for these kind of things, usually in applications we write function. In function we just pass few parameters, and based on the parameters some calculation will happen and function will return the final result. That result we can display on the application. Now let's discuss about the syntax, because syntax is very important for the function. Otherwise, system will throw error. So syntax is very simple. Def keyword, this is mandatory. After that, you need to write the name of the function and parameter. Parameter is not mandatory. If you have parameter, you can pass. By the way, if there is no parameter, no need to pass. So just focus on the syntax. After writing function name, parenthesis, parameter, and parenthesis close colon. This is simple function. After that, you can write a comment, what is the use of the function and what etc etc. Return is the mandate. It's also not mandatory, but in this case, let's suppose you have written return function. Once you will call greet function anywhere and pass the parameter, you will see the function will return the calculated value. In this case, what I'm doing, I have just declared this function and calling the function, let's suppose greet. So greet function, I'm printing here. Let's see what value will come. So what I'm doing, I'm passing this value, and hello I'm appending with the parameter, and parameter value will be passed from here. Let's see what the system will print. So this is coming with hello, which is already a hard code value, and I'm passing the variable here, which is name, and in the name what value I'm passing, this is Alice. Now let me change the name to Rahul. Argument will go to here, this particular value in the function argument, and this value will go there, and what the final function will print hello and this name. Okay, now let's move to the function argument. So function syntax, you understood how you need to write the function syntax. Next is function argument. So there are many types of function argument. Argument. Positional argument means pass to a function in the same order as their corresponding parameters. So what does it mean? We will pass multiple parameters in the function, and these uh, multiple arguments will go in the same sequence. So let's suppose this is, you have defined this function here. So how many parameters are there? A comma b, 2. And here how many parameters you are calling? 2. So once you will put the value 3 and 5, so 3 will go into the A, 5 will go into the B, and 3 plus B will sum here. Next is keyword argument. What is the keyword argument? So keyword argument explicitly assign value to the parameter by the name. So I will show you keyword argument. Keyword arguments are, let's suppose here two parameters are there, but you want to define the value in the function itself whenever you are calling it. So once you will call the function, and you can directly assign some value to the function. In this case, usually what we do, let's suppose we have three parameters in a function, but two values we are passing, one value we already know. So at the time of writing code, if we know this particular value will be same always, but instead of changing the function or creating a duplicate function, we can just give the hard code value into the argument itself. Third is default arguments. So default arguments, let's suppose this one, this is default argument. So in the default argument, I have given greeting is equal to hello, and this greeting I'm printing here, and name I'm printing here. So here this hard code value, this is the default here. Greet greet is the function name, and I'm passing this particular value because this value is already hard code value, which I explained you here in the keyword argument. If we already know the value of something, we can give into the function which is the hard code value. And in this case, what will happen, because we are defining this function, at the time of definition we are giving a hard code value. So once the user will call this function, user can give this value or not give the value. So if user will give only one value, then one value will pass from here and second value will come here. If user will pass two values, then two values first will be from here and second value will override this hello. Let me show you how this will work. In this case, what I am doing, in the first case I passed Rahul. Rahul went into the name, greeting, hello, name Rahul. So hello name, hello Rahul printed here. But in the second case, I am passing both the values. So the first value will go to the name here and second value will go to the greeting. So what is the second value I am printing first, then first value is coming on the second position. So what is printing here? Hi, which go to the name, and name is printing here. Rahul went to the greeting, and greeting I'm printing first. So Rahul will go to the second position. Rahul will go to the second position and hi will go to the first position. You can see here. This keyword one I have explained you, but I have not printed here. So keyword argument, once you will pass, let's suppose 30 and Bob, which is hard code values, and 30, and now once you will give the hard code values to the age and name, this will directly go to this function and will print here. Guys, these are very simple things, extremely simple. So do practice and just try to understand how the function argument works. And once you will start doing practice, you will understand this entire syntax. Third is the variable length argument. Variable length argument definition I have given here. Arguments and KW arguments. Pass a variable number of the positional argument, pass a variable number of the keyword argument. Let me explain you in the code itself. So here, you know what I'm doing here? This is a function, sum all function. Here I'm passing just a star with the argument. So what the star will do? Here star work is, I am not fixing that how many parameters user will pass. Okay, so in this case user is passing 5 parameters and some calculation is happening here. This sum is the system defined function. When we will pass multiple argument to this function, system will sum those values. So in this case I'm passing 5 values 1 to 5, and this particular function will accept all the 5 values. So there is no fix how many values I'm going to pass. So let me show you. The sum of these 5 values have been printed here. If I remove 5 from this list, what will be the output of this function? Pause the video and think. So there should be the output 4 plus 3 is equal to 7 plus 2 9 plus 1 10. Let me try print. And the good thing is now this particular function sum are all, this function is ready to accept any parameter, any number of parameters. Return statement. Return statement, basically the function is declared to do something, and sometime we need to return the value from the function. Let's suppose I'm doing some calculation, those calculated value I need to return, or sometime I don't need to return. So what is the case when I need to return, and what is the case when I don't need to return? The case number one, when to return. Let's suppose I'm writing a function in an application. That function required to calculate something. In this case, the calculated value I will use somewhere in the application. When I will use somewhere in the application, I need to return that value. So I will pass the argument in the function. Those argument will be calculated in the function itself, and once the function will return that particular result, I can use that result anywhere in the application. This is one case when we need to return. Second case is when we don't need to return. What is that case? The case is, let's suppose you have written a function to insert the value in your database. So in this case, you don't need to return anything. But yes, usually we return in this case like the value successfully inserted in the database or not. So we need confirmation. So that time we will return. If we don't need any confirmation, it doesn't matter value saved in database or not saved, but we will call this function and we are expecting this function will work perfectly. So we don't need to return. We will just call the function, function code will execute, and whatever logic we have written that will complete and function task finish. Okay, so here we are doing the same thing. We are passing 4 and the 4 will go to here, and 4 multiplied by 4, this is multiplication sign, and the result will come here, which is 16. Okay, next is lambda function. Just now you have seen so many types of function. Function type is one, but yes, of course, parameters are different, and what types of parameter we need to pass in the function. All these things I have explained you. But now this is different type of function, lambda function. Lambda function are the anonymous function defined with the lambda keyword. What does it mean? It is anonymous function. We don't need to explicitly give the name of the function, declare it and do something. No. When we need some calculation and we know these kind of calculations will not reuse in the program. So in this case, you can directly write a lambda function and use for the small and single use function. Whenever, let's suppose small calculations are required sometime, that time we use the lambda function. And this is the syntax: lambda keyword, then arguments, then expression. Now focus here. So this particular thing, if I show you this one example, lambda function, lambda argument I am passing here in this case I am passing only one argument, x colon, focus on the syntax part, the same syntax, lambda, this is keyword, then argument, then colon, then expression. So in this case, x multiplied by x. In the previous one, I have just declared the function to square something, and this syntax was there. This is the function, and this is lambda function. In the lambda function, I am not defining anything. In a single line, I have just done one calculation and calling this one. But now you will be thinking, if lambda function can work in the one line, then what is the need of this one? So I think the answer is very simple. In case of reusability, we will define this function. In case of very big calculations, then also we will define this function. In case of simple calculations and no required of reusability, we will write a simple lambda function. Scope and lifetime of the variable. Theory. Scope refers to where the variable is accessible in the code. So let's suppose sometime we need, I'm declaring somewhere variable in this program. No, I have not declared any variable, but let me explain and will show the below examples. When we declare a variable in the program, so that variable has a scope that should be locally used, that should be globally used, or non-local inside, let's suppose, nested function. I'll explain this point. And so let's suppose in this example I have declared a x is equal to 10. Okay, this x is equal to 10, this is not the global variable as of now. As of now, this is simple a variable which is assigned, initialized with the 10. X have been initialized with the 10, but there is a scope where I can use the x. Okay. In this case, let's suppose I am not declaring this x here as a global. Can I use it? No, because I need to pass this x through here to use the x. But if I'm declaring x here, I can use directly. And also this x have been declared as a x, but I'm not returning anywhere in this function, but I can use this x anywhere because this is declared as a global variable. So in this case, I'm just calling this function here, and in the next line, I'm printing here. Just try to understand how it is working. Let me run this program. What is the output? 15. Why 15? Because I'm declaring x is equal to 10. Here I am adding 5 into the x value. So that's why now the x value is equal to 15. I can call this x anywhere because this is declared as a global variable. Now I just want to show you, if I comment this code global x using the hash, we can comment the line. What will happen? Just tell me, system will throw the error or system will give some other value? See, the system will throw the error because I am not passing the x, but this inside the function, how the system will understand what is this x. So that's why system will throw the error. Cannot access local variable x where it is not associated with the value. So what I need to do? So first of all, I need to uncomment this code, and so now I can use x anywhere. I'll show you one more thing. Let's suppose if I call this function directly here. Let's suppose inside the print, if I'm calling this function directly, what will happen? Will it work? None. None. Why this function is none? Because this is not, by the way, related to the global or non-global, because we are not returning anything in this function. But let me return x. What should be the output? Just think about it. Let me run now. 15. Why 15? Because I have declared x as the global variable and I'm returning it here. But in case, let's suppose if I comment this code, now I want to check what is the value of this particular function. The function will return something? Answer is no, because we are not passing anything and this particular program will throw error. Cannot access local variable x where it is not associated with a value. Now what you can do, if you don't want to declare a global variable, but definitely you want to utilize this function and you don't need to declare global variable, so in this case you will pass something here. Let's suppose you are passing x here, okay, and you are passing x here also. So what will be the output? 15. Why? Because here we don't need to declare any global variable. I'm passing x from here and x was declared in this scope. This x value went here and x plus equal to 5 and return whatever the x value is. So this is the global variable. Now recursion. Recursion function. So whenever we need to multiply the multiple times, if we need to do calculation, that time we use recursion function. Recursion function call itself to solve the smaller sub problems. And let's suppose if I need to calculate one function again and again, there are two ways. I can write a loop, can call the function and calculate the value inside the loop, whatever the values are coming from the function. But also I can write a recursion function which will calculate everything by making loop itself without explicitly writing a loop. This recursion function recursing the values and will give the final result. I'll show you how. First of all, focus on the syntax part. Define like a function. We are defining this one. This is by the function only, nothing else. Here I'm applying just condition. If this condition is true, then this particular value will return. If this condition is not true, then we are calling this function again, recursive function, and whatever the value we are passing here. Syntax, I try to understand the syntax and now focus on the programming part. Factorial. So factorial, this is mathematical term. I think we all know how to calculate factorial. So let's suppose if I'm asking you factorial of 5, how you will calculate it? Factorial of 5 will be starting multiplied of 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. So using the recursive function, we can easily calculate it. We have applied here factorial passing n. If n is equal to 0, then return 1. Once the 0 will come, we will return 1. Else, by the way, there is no else, but in each of the case, we are multiplying here. So n will be the initial value. Again, I am passing 4 here in the function because n means 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. Then n value will automatically change to 4. Next time the recursion will execute until the n is equal to 0. This will loop the calculation, and once the n is equal to 0, it will return 1. I will show you now. So this function recursive case, if I'm passing 5, so what should be the value? The value should be, let me show you here, value should be 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. Okay, so what should be the value? 20, 60, 120. So total value will be 120 here. Let me show you. 120. If I pass 6 here, let's suppose if I'm passing 6 here, so what will be the value here? So multiplied by 6. So what will be the value here? 720. Is this correct calculation? Yes. So 720 should be the output of this function. Let me see. 720. So this is the recursive function. Guys, do practice as more as you can do. In the next video, I will be available very soon. Thank you so much.